Hey, I'm Sean,
Hi, and I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. Welcome to Thursday Night Family. Oh, and tonight is not just another Thursday with Wifey and Baby Mama. Oh, no. Tonight we're firing the
No.
hot show alarm, okay? We have a special guest with us tonight. We have Amber, the boss lady herself, joining us tonight. Amber,
All
introduce yourself.
right.
My name is Amber. Married, three kids. As Sean said, the bossy one. So this is who I am. I'm not bossy. I'm really not bossy. I just, I have tunnel vision and I need things done as they should be.
Amber, we tell
That's
the truth on our show now. We don't come over here with that, Amber.
Excuse me, I'm not bossy. I just want things to be where they need to be. And
there
if
you
I ask you to
go.
do something, just do it.
There you go.
Persistent. So that's the word you prefer,
There we go.
persistence.
There we go.
Thank you, Amber.
Well, yes, and welcome, Amber. We
Thank
love
you.
having guests, so we're so excited that you're with us tonight.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and audience, you get a trifecta of opinions and experience instead of just Shannon and my, ex thug life, now living for Christ stories. You can get another opinion. And I think we can all agree that guest night is the best night,
Oh,
okay?
yeah, for sure. For sure.
And as if having Amber on didn't set y'all off for the night, we have the October Redline winner of the month. We've been waiting to get to this third Thursday tonight, and we'll be reading the submission for our first winner of the Wife and Baby Mama end of the year giveaway. And if you missed the October
Mm.
deadline, be sure to get your submissions in for November and December. And keep in mind,
Uh,
if you're not selected for this giveaway, your submissions will stay in, and we'll play them
Yep.
throughout the year. Only thing that goes away is you won't win a book with the $100. But guess what? You getting $100, so buy the book. So it's still a win-win, right? With wife and baby
You
mom.
got
Y'all
that
heard me?
right.
Every
Absolutely.
Thursday as a month is a chance to put a
Mm.
few extra dollars in your pocket. So get in submissions, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we like to keep you guys entertained and informed. So now the
Mhm.
information is out. Let's get some real going on, and I'm sure we'll have a little entertainment too with this boss lady joining us tonight. So uh, tonight's topic is titled Who Raised You? Now,
Who
I know
raised you?
most of us have heard that slogan, Who Raised You, right? When someone does something outrageous or simply leave the door open when you walked out, your grandparents would say, Did you ever ladies hear that? Were you raised in a barn? Did you ladies ever?
Uh-huh.
Is it
Yep.
okay?
Oh,
That's not a
yeah.
country thing. Okay. So, but in this episode, we're not referring to doors, but the different ways in which children who are brought up in the same home can sometimes take different paths. Now, Amber, you came
Mhm,
to mind with this episode because having a son and a daughter and raising
mhm.
them pretty
Mm.
much as a single mom, I thought you could offer some insight on how and if your kids turned out different as young adults. And if you find yourself asking,
Mhm.
who raised you a lot, like I do
Yeah,
with my middle daughter child?
yeah. I ask that question a lot, especially with like Bianca, because if I had another kid, she would be the middle child, right?
Hmm.
So it's like
Mhm.
it kind of is crazy because when they were younger, Brandon was quote unquote the problem child. And as
Mm.
they got older, the roles switched. So yeah, they're like night and day. You know what I mean? It's like Bianca she's a, oh God, what do you call her? A rebel. She's a rebel. She's gonna do what she wants to do. She's going to uh find out the hard way 9 times out of 10.
Mm.
Hmm.
And versus Brandon, where you can talk to him and he's gonna listen to you, and 85% of what you say to him is gonna sink in. So
Okay.
yeah, they definitely are different. Definitely, yes.
And it's just unique because same mom, same house, you know what I mean? Same
Yeah,
Mhm.
values,
same
same
mom, same house.
opportunities.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like my
absolutely.
middle daughter, it's day and night from the other girls, and
Hmm.
it's a definitely who raised you when it comes to
Right.
friends some
Mhm.
days. But
And it's so
he's 5, so
funny.
I'm not too concerned. But that middle daughter of mine, I just look at her like, what did I do? And all I can
Mhm.
say,
Right.
girl, is God is
Mhm.
able sometimes. Now, Shannon, I know you only have one child, right? And you don't have a
Mhm.
comparison to make as far as differences in gender. But even single parents can relate to this. I know, is it days that you look at your only son and my oldest stepson and say, what happened? Where did I go wrong? Does
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happen with
yeah.
you too?
Oh yeah, but even if my siblings, when I look at the four of us,
Hmm.
when I say the four of us, the four of my mother's children, I don't mean to offend my baby sister with daddy, but the four of us who were raised together, how different we all are, and you would think we were raised by different people, some of us anyway. Won't call their names. You would think there was something different, but there's nothing. It's like same mom, same stepdad, same household, same values, going to church every day, believing in God and all of this. And then you look at some of us today, it's like, okay. You're not, you don't believe in God. That's odd.
Right.
And how did you get there? Because your parents didn't take you there. So how'd you get there? So looking at individuals like that, that's like, or even people that you see on TV and you wonder how they ended up being a serial killer and their mom and dad are just so perfect. You just, you never know,
You never know.
So,
Mhm.
and how do you look at yourself? And I try now, even with my son, um, because I wanted to raise him differently than how I was raised. And we all
Hmm.
do. Most of us as
Right.
Right.
parents, we all
Want to
want to
do
do
better.
different. Oh yeah, we want to do better or we think we're better even if, our life wasn't that bad cuz mine wasn't. But I still felt like I could do so much better. But what I learned with my son, which I've talked about before, I tried to run from my parents' style so much
Mhm.
that I think I end up doing more harm,
So you ran out.
yeah, instead
Mm.
of taking the good that I was
Hmm.
given, I tried to
Hmm.
Mhm.
squash it all. So now, not saying I have a bad son, but I could have had a
Right.
better son, if I would have done better. But um, yeah, we got to think about, when we look back and try to criticize our own parents for how
Right.
they raised us. Like, oh, who raised you? Yeah, my mother raised me. She did the best she could. And
Oh,
when I look at
absolutely.
her, yeah, my mother was 20 with three kids, 20 years old with three kids.
Yeah.
Not only was she self-sufficient, she bought a house. It's like who in the 70s, black
Right.
in the 70s buys a house? And then she went on to join the Air Force. So our lives were set up. She set it up for us to where we would have prosperity. We would have,
Mhm.
a good life. And those are things that she did at a young age. So of course, the other stuff that she fell down on, the basic mothering stuff, I can't fault her for that. Um,
Right.
so
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Amber.
No, I'm taking it all in because me
Just
and my
agree.
mom have these conversations, and when we were younger, it was we all took different paths. My
mhm,
brothers went one way. It's three of us, two brothers and me, and
Hmm.
my brothers went one way, and I went another way, and I was quote unquote a problem child because my mother was so protective of me as a young girl,
We've
so it
talked
was
about
like
that before on the show a
so
lot.
right.
Yes.
So it was
mhm.
like you can't do this, you can't do that. You got to be in a house at a certain time, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not having that." Like, no, so the problem child in me was not coming home when I was supposed to. But versus my brothers that took the life of the street life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Hmm.
and so now my mother is saying, "Where did I go wrong?" And I'm like, "Mom, you didn't go wrong. You taught us everything that we needed to know. It's just the fact that they chose that life. It's
That's
their
right.
Right,
choice. They chose
And
that
right.
and
life."
And yeah, it don't even it so much even as life, our choices we make or the decisions we make or patterns we take. It's even like the personalities in your kids, right? Like
Absolutely.
I laugh
Yeah.
every time I see this post on social media that says, when you see your children like living life totally against the standards you taught them, and all you can say is,
Mhm.
I did my best. You ever see them? I
Yeah.
did
No.
my best, you
Definitely
know.
didn't.
I can relate to that in so many ways. And it cracks
Right.
me up like every time, but not just with the discipline and problems with my middle daughter. It's even with my oldest daughter. You know, this girl get on social media and post some of the wildest crap you ever seen, right? She's so
Yeah.
quiet, meek, she's smart, hardworking, and she just act the fool on social media, and people text me and tag and be like, "What's wrong with your kid?" I'm like, I don't know. I did all I could. I did the best I could. So
Right.
so it's not even
Right.
that she's a problem. She's a great kid, or she plays the video games till 3, 4 in the morning, screaming, keeping the whole house up.
Hmm.
Clean your room up.
Yeah.
It's like you
I
24,
have
kid.
one of those. I have one of
Yeah,
those.
it's like you're 24, but all you can say, right, is I did my best
Yeah.
because
Absolutely. Because we don't have a book to this. You know, you do
that's
what
it.
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So the things that I took from my mother as far as being a mother, because to me, in my eyes, my mother was a great mother. There was things that she did that I didn't like as I got
Right.
older and seen it. Um, and I said I would never do that with my
Mm-hmm.
daughter. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I stand true to that. It may have
Mm-hmm.
slipped up a couple times, but
Yeah.
I stand
Yeah.
Not
true to
intentionally.
it. Not
Right.
Mm-hmm.
intentionally. It's just
Right.
sometimes, kids can take you there.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
girl.
So kids
Preach
can
to the
take
Yeah.
you
choir.
there. And I just
Yeah.
said to a friend of mine, like, people can't move me, but my kids can move me. They can take me to a level that nobody can
Mm-hmm.
take me to.
I
But
think
Right.
it's because when we think about the sacrifices and stuff we made for them, and the stuff we
yeah,
didn't get so that they could have, that makes you gonna be like, girl,
yeah,
boy, don't play with me. I get
Yeah,
it.
but I look at that differently. Remember, Sean, we talked a little bit about this on another podcast. I don't, when you think about your sacrifices that you make for your kids, and I know I get beat up for this all the time, and my sisters, everyone comes for me whenever I make the statement. I don't feel I made sacrifices for my son because I chose to have him. I chose to bring him here. That was my choice. He didn't choose to be here. So any
Right.
heartache I suffer because he's here, that's on me. I don't feel like he owes me for bringing
No,
him into the
no,
they
world.
don't owe you,
they
but
owe me anything
no,
because
no,
they
I
Mhm.
think
right.
you missed. Yeah, you misconstrued the point. We're saying once they're older, Shannon, and
Mhm.
they have responsibility and they have choices to make, and they keep continuing to make bad choices, and you're like,
Bad
I didn't
choices.
raise you that way. I didn't raise you
Right,
that
and
way.
Yeah.
that and
Yeah.
that's the thing that I say to her all the time, like, who raised you? Because I know I didn't raise you that way.
So
You understand what I'm
that's
Yeah.
saying? So
why I said
Yeah.
when
where
this
did you
title came,
get
I
this
said
from?
Amber. I'm getting Amber because I know you can
Yeah,
relate to me, but we tell our stories all the time, so we love a different
absolutely.
opinion, a different voice, you
Yeah,
know.
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of women hold in things about their kids because they feel like it's embarrassing. But to
Oh
Right.
me, it's
yeah.
like, come on now. So
I did
many
my
women
best.
go through
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
right, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, so many women go through things like this. I'm not
Mhm.
embarrassed about whatever my kids have done. I'm not embarrassed because to me, you got to go through things to learn things.
That's
To
That's
right.
true.
me,
Yep. Yep.
if you share it, that's
Mhm.
one mother that says, "Oh my God, I'm not alone."
Well,
Right.
that's why we do
Right.
these podcasts every week, Amber. And I'm so
Exactly.
happy to hear you say
Yep.
that. Shannon and I say all the time. We try to say it every
Yeah,
week. If we
Mhm.
can help one person understand, you're not alone. You're not the first one to go through it. You
Right.
won't be the last one to go through it. But we try to help them grow through it and try to
Mhm.
avoid making the decisions we make before you get to our
right,
age.
right.
You know what
You know,
I'm
I
Exactly.
saying?
And
my
exactly. And
child.
to the young people,
Yeah,
we want to make sure because a lot of them feel like how I felt. Oh, I got to do different from my mother. And it's fine to do a little different, but you got to take the good. You
right.
got to
You
remember
got
the
to
good.
take the
So when
good.
I'm looking at these posts from all of my nieces and my,
Hmm.
goddaughters and all this, and they're thinking they're the perfect parent. I don't know if you all see the same post I see from the people under the age of 25 or under the age of 30, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, my child is this and my child is that. It's like, okay, but you got to understand. where'd you get your experience?
Right.
Where'd
You
you
got
get
it
all
from your
this know-how and
parents.
knowledge? Exactly.
Mhm.
You
So how
know,
are you
Or
thinking you're better and you're smarter and you're this and that? Yeah, you've learned some things from, there are more, this is more of the information age. So yeah,
mhm,
you can go out and Google a whole bunch of stuff
mhm.
and all of that, but still your basics, a lot of it's common sense.
right.
You didn't need
Mhm.
anybody to teach you not to leave your daughter alone with some old man, because a
Right.
lot of
Right.
us have gone through all of that. And
That's right.
these little young girls I see today, they're like, oh yeah, I would never do that. But then it's like, oh, but he's off with his, the baby daddy somewhere, and it's like, but who's your child with? You don't know.
You
So
don't
you
know.
might be doing exactly what your mother did that caused you to go through some trauma because you're thinking you're so much smarter.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But
yeah.
it goes back to what you said with the mothers. I'm doing a good job. I love the
Mhm.
posts from the mothers who got a 7-month-old or a 2-year-old. So I'm the best. I'm a great mom, and I be saying to myself, "Oh, baby, keep living. Them little
Keep
sneakers is cute,
Oh,
living.
ain't it, honey?
I
Them
know.
little
Yeah.
barrettes is cute. You let me holler,
Yeah.
holler at me about being a mama when they're about 15, baby. You done had to do it.
You
Holler at
know
Uh-huh.
me. So
what? This is the
those are
funny
the
thing.
funniest posts to me.
This is the funniest thing. My mother told me when I was when my kids were young, because they're only 14 months apart. She said, Amber, now is not the time when your kids really, really need you. It's when they turn
Mhm.
teenagers that you need to be. And then I thought about it. My mom was a single mom. So she
Uh,
worked 2 to 3 jobs. She wasn't home. She wasn't home. So when I had
right.
kids, I said to myself, I need to be home
Mhm.
from like 5 on. So I definitely need a job where I can be home after 5. I
Right. That's
need
right.
to stay I need to be in that time zone because I know from me and my brothers that we
What went
did
on when Mama went home?
what
Mm.
went on when my mother wasn't home. Yeah. I
Yes,
know what we
absolutely.
did. I
Right,
understand what we
right.
did. And I think that because I was home after 5 and they couldn't get away with a lot of things. Now they got away with stuff, but they couldn't get away with a lot, because
Mhm. Mhm.
not only was I there, my mother was there, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
she didn't have that with her mother. My mother,
Right.
her mother was supportive, but not as supportive as I feel my
Your
mother
mom
was
is
with
with
my
your
kids.
kids. I
Right.
get it. And
So it was like you couldn't maneuver a lot, like in regards to my kids. You couldn't maneuver a lot. And it was like, you know, I've been there, done that. Just like we had the discussion, I should have been dead. I should have been in jail because of the things that I did.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
my parent, who was a single parent, had 3 jobs to take
Yeah.
care of us.
that's right.
Come on
Yeah.
now,
And
like,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like when you hear those stories of sacrifices. My mom, of course, you guys know she was addicted. She had trouble with the streets. And you said your mom was in the Air Force. Like
Mhm.
it's like
Mhm.
three different. We all live three different lives. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
all got to this place that we're successful Black women, right?
Yeah.
Because we figured it
Mhm.
out. And look, it's like you said, Amber, there's no guide, right? We can pray
No
for these
God.
kids. We can
Mm-hmm.
raise them. We
Yep.
sacrifice. We guide them.
Yep.
We can give them the
Yep.
finest thing. But we can't
Yep.
ensure it will all turn out all good no matter what we do, right?
No
So
matter what.
sometimes we just have to let them walk it out, like you said,
Walk it
Amber,
out.
and allow the
Mhm.
universe and time to do its thing. As long as you
Yeah.
taught
Yeah.
them the word, giving
Yeah.
your children a good solid foundation, we
Right.
always have to believe that they'll turn around and get it right sooner or later.
Mhm.
And the
Because
funny
Yeah.
we
thing is, my kids know the Bible better than I do. I don't.
okay.
I stand true to. I believe in God. I pray to Him. I do all of that.
Mhm.
But as when they were younger, I put them in a daycare that was, based on, God and everything,
Mhm.
so it was taught to them. So they can recite stuff from the Bible that I cannot recite.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
But
like,
they'll
where you
still
get
make
that from?
Yeah, but they'll
But
still
they
make
still make
choices
they still
that you
make
wouldn't
them
make
stupid choices.
because that sometimes life is the best teacher, girl. I'm
And
Oh
then
telling
I
you.
go
yeah.
like and say,
Yeah.
who raised you?
Mhm.
Who
Mhm.
raised you?
Who
Now,
Yeah.
Amber,
raised
it
you?
is it's another point. Just one more point I want to
Yeah.
touch on, seeing that this is a blended family podcast, right? And I just
Yeah.
want to specifically ask you this. Having
hmm
raised your two children solo, right?
Yeah.
At least for a while, then getting married later on in life and gaining
Right.
another little handsome man, you know, from your husband,
Mm.
Right.
who is
Right.
younger, right, than your biological children.
Yeah.
Do you see a
Right.
difference as far as discipline or guidance? You
Oh
know, now
yeah.
having the opportunity to
Girl.
say, I'm gonna tell your daddy. Because girl, I keep that one in my back pocket. You know,
Now
versus
see,
me raising the girls alone, you know. So I guess what I'm asking is it easier or is it just routine because you've already raised a son?
so this is the thing, right? So Scotty was in prison for from the time Devon was born until
Hmm.
he was about 10.
Okay.
So he knew Scotty. His mother and his father made sure that he had a relationship with him,
Okay.
right? So his mom moved to North Carolina when he was a baby.
Hmm.
So um when I met Scotty, let me backtrack a little bit. I met Scotty in high school. We went to the senior prom together. We were together for a while and then we just drifted apart.
Hmm.
Many, many years over the years, I was like, damn, I wonder how he's doing, whatever. But I just didn't have anybody that I knew that knew him to tell me how he was doing. Because I always wondered, because he was such a sweet guy in high school.
Right.
Mhm.
Fast forward, how we met back up is because his cousin, I knew his cousin, and he was on Facebook and said that his cousin was about, how they say touchdown when
The
they
man
about
about
to
to
get
touch
out
Mhm.
of
down.
prison. Right.
Mhm.
He's
Yep.
touched
Yep.
down. And I said, oh, shoot. Like, so I inboxed his cousin and said, tell him, like, hi. I was always wondering. I thought he was moved out of town, because I had never seen him.
You say,
So,
he's on a paid vacation by the
right.
feds.
So,
My husband took one
to
of them too, child. He took a couple of them,
right.
but go
So
ahead.
exactly, this is where me and you, Sean, have so much in common because of the fact
Hmm.
that Scotty had been in prison most of his adult life.
Hmm.
So, um, he didn't have that privilege to raise his son up until about 10.
Okay.
So when we got together, he told me about his son, blah, 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 and the first time he went to see his son, I went with him because moving up day, he was in fifth grade. So he
Hmm.
says, you coming? And I said, no, I'm not coming because this is your first time seeing your son. He doesn't need to see me. He don't need to see me. He needs to see you. He needs to focus on you. He don't need to know who I am at this point.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, after that, I met his mother and all of that and whatever the case may be. Now, fast forward around seventh grade, Scotty says to me, he needs to come live with us because I need to, be in
Bond
his
with them.
life and whatever,
Hmm.
whatever the case
Hmm.
may
And
be.
we know
So
black
he
boys
came,
need their daddies,
yeah,
honey. Just like
absolutely.
Yeah.
just like
So
Yeah.
he
water.
came here. He came here and in that age, they're more that age, they're here and they're like, whatever, they go with the flow. As they turn into teenagers, as they turn into teenagers, it's this different vibe. Now, to me, I've been blessed because Devon is a very laid back kind of person, kind of young adult, young
Yes,
teenager,
he
whatever
is
you want
so
to say.
Mhm.
He's
mannerable.
so
Yeah,
laid back,
he's a really
very
mannerable little boy.
right, but he's
I love
feeling
him.
himself now,
Oh yeah, it's that age.
Yes, it's that age. I'm like, he's smelling himself, so I haven't had many problems with him, but I'm very old school, so it's like when you walk into a room, you speak.
You speak.
When you
Mm-hmm.
come in the
Mm.
house, you speak, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a teenager.
Right.
So if I had to say, it's just that. Like
Oh,
Just a
wow.
I
teenager.
yeah, just being a teenager.
And he just
I
blended right in with your other kids. I
He
love
blended
that.
right in with the other
I
kids.
love
He
that part.
definitely, but my kids are very inviting. You know what I
That's
mean?
good.
Oh,
They're
love
like
that.
me.
Mm,
They're like
beautiful.
me. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you this chance until you do something stupid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's how they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I am. I'm so inviting to people. So it's like until you do me wrong, we good.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
So,
Well,
um, yeah, being I just feel like Devon is just like he's a good kid. He's really a good kid, but we're going through the teenage stage of his
Mm-hmm.
life.
well,
He
child, I'm gonna
and
pray for you.
but right, but at the same time, I took the approach of let me fall back, let Scotty be a parent because he
There you
Mm-hmm.
hasn't
go.
been a
Mm-hmm.
full-time parent. I've been there. I've done that. I've
Right.
made good
Mm-hmm.
choices. I've made bad choices. You know what I'm saying? And when you need me, I'm here.
That's it. That's
Right.
it. That's the recipe. When you need me. Well,
When you
thank you
need
for
me, I'm
that, Amber.
here.
I just wanted to know, like I said, but with the podcast being on blended families, I'm like, let me touch on that and see how that works out. And so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's just another
Yeah.
example that it can work, just like Shannon and I
It
Oh,
work,
it
just
yeah.
like
can
our
work.
kids work, just like our husbands and friends. It
Exactly.
works if you do the work
Absolutely.
Exactly.
and just
Yeah.
And I
everybody's
was like,
mature.
oh my God. And I was not sure because I'm like, okay, how is his son's mother going to be? You understand what I'm saying? I
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
don't I don't play that rah rah stuff. I'm too old. I don't know. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it
Mm-hmm.
because as soon as I see that, me and Scotty would have been over. Because I don't have time for that. We not about
Right.
to do this because to me, as
Right.
my mother raised me to be, kids are off limits.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are off
Absolutely.
limits. If you come into a relationship and the woman has kids or the man has kids, you treat those kids
As your
with
own.
respect as your own,
That's
all of that.
right. Yep.
They have nothing to do with the adult situation.
That's
Nothing.
Absolutely.
right.
And we
And that's
preach
what
that
I've
from
always
the
said.
beginning of this podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that you
Yeah.
said that. But we have a red line to get to. So
Okay.
thank you,
Oh,
Amber, for
right.
sharing.
Yes.
Thank
Now,
you,
ladies,
Yeah.
Amber.
I think we'll leave the people with this, guys, on this topic of who raised you. Our opinion only. It's moms who
Yeah.
figured it out. The simple key,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe someone would say recipe. Some of us would say recipe key is men. Like if you're raising single girls, raise that woman to be someone you would want to marry. Raise her to be a wife for another man. And men and women, if we're raising sons, raise those boys
Mm,
to be leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Raise them to be
leader.
leaders of families. And if it turns out any other way, that's between them and the universe. Like I said, because of course, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how good we do or what kind of perfect situation we're in, it's not going to always turn out like we think. So
No.
Right.
I
Mm-mm.
just say we do
Right.
our best and let God do the rest, ladies.
Yeah, that is truth. And knowing too that a lot of times, a female can't really raise a son the way a
That's right.
man can.
That's
And
right.
so my son, of course, his father wasn't here. However, whenever there was a major issue, and Sean, you know this, I could always say, same way you tell LaFrank, let me get him on the phone. Here, you
Mhm.
need to talk to him. Even if he wasn't physically here in Charlotte, just
That's
having
right.
that presence, that voice on the
Absolutely.
other end of the phone saying,
It makes
"What
a
you doing, boy?"
difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes a freaking difference, I'm telling you.
Yes, it
So
does.
that's
Yes,
why,
it
Amber,
does.
Yeah.
even though you got to go through this later on in life with
Mm-hmm.
your baby, at least you got dad
Mm-hmm.
there. You know what I mean? At least you got him there
Yes.
now. So you gotta
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
older days, we need to let me tell your daddy. I'm gonna tell your dad in our back pocket, honey. We don't got the energy we had in our 20s when we had these kids. So
No.
at least it came at a time that you're settled, Am, and you got Scotty there and you guys can do it together. And I'm sure that takes a load off.
Mhm.
Yeah, it definitely does, but um yeah, it's a process. It's a process,
It's a
Mhm.
and
process.
Mhm.
you know, I'll hurry it up because I know you guys have time, but I let's not even focus on Divine. You'll have to bring me on again, maybe. But
Oh
me and
yes.
Scotty was definitely to a point where divorce was on the table because of the the crashing of him and Bianca. You, Sean, you know Bianca.
Oh yeah.
You
So
know,
no,
yeah,
we got an episode
absolutely.
for that. So hold that.
Yeah,
And Shannon, did you just
yeah.
hear her say we can bring her
Okay.
back?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Amber,
Yes.
can bring her
Most
back.
definitely.
we got an episode geared for that next season. So hold that line. I don't want you to
Listen,
bring that. We need to hear that.
I won't bring
We
it
got
up,
a
but
show for
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
yeah, you can bring me
We have a
back
show for that.
on.
We're
Oh,
gonna
Yeah.
bring you
thank
back. We
you.
definitely have a
Thank you.
show for
Most
that, honey, because
definitely.
we don't want to portray everything's all good in
It's
the
not
neighborhood and
all
blended
good
families.
peaches and
No.
It's
no,
not.
it's
It's
not.
work.
Mm.
It's work.
Mm.
It's
And when on the
it's
next
Mm.
episode, I can't wait to bring you back.
girl,
Cause
you
honey, I
can
got a
bring me
couple of
about
stories for you.
y'all can bring me back about 5 or 6 times. I got stories for every
Every title, every episode.
every title.
I love
All
Absolutely.
right.
it.
Because
Well,
Love
so
it
it.
guys,
takes
so audience, you heard it. Amber has
You
committed to
heard it. Yes.
at least
absolutely.
one more short, but we have met five for Amber because we can get down with
Yeah.
this thing all night. But tonight
That's
we got
right.
to get
All
on with it
right.
because I got to
Okay.
read this red line, y'all, and it's a good one.
All right. On to the
And
red line.
yes,
Okay.
all right. Tonight's red line is courtesy of our October submission winner,
Oh, we
Mrs.
got a
Nia
winner.
Badger. Yes.
Hey.
And I'm telling you, Nia, she just called it. She slid this thing in the last minute. So I don't know if her name was on top, but I know everybody gonna be like, it's gotta be rigged. It is not. Nia is the winner, and
It's
I could
not
we almost
rigged. It's
flipped
not
out, but
rigged.
it's not rigged. And I didn't even pick it. Shannon did. So there you go. But anyways, Nia writes, my scariest red line is the time a guy in college approached me saying he was interested in me. He was on the football team, tall and huge with big muscles. We would casually talk when we saw each other, but nothing too much. One day he walked me home after a party. We were at my door and we were talking. And I said, I'm ready to go inside my room because it's getting late. He asked me to come in, and I said no. Then he started grabbing my arms and getting aggressive. He said, you've been playing with
Mm,
me, acting like you really like me. Excuse me,
mm.
sir. I don't know what excuse me. Excuse me, sir. I barely pay you any attention, is what Nia wrote. You asked me to walk me home. I actually was getting really scared. So I was like, Nia, think fast. I told him, guess what? I changed my mind. I'm going to let you in my room. Just let me make sure my roommate is asleep. He let go of my arms, and I went in my room, locked the door, and crawled right in bed. I
Mm,
avoided him until graduation. Definitely dodged a raper that night. In my Cat Williams voice.
mm.
So you were just going to take the booty. No, sir. Not with the Lord on my side.
You got that right.
Praise the Lord. Keep up the good work, ladies. Nia. Nia, thank you so
Oh,
much. We
thank you,
appreciate it.
Nia.
We shall keep up the good work.
Yes.
And Shannon, you take it from here.
Congratulations, Nia, on winning and being our October winner of our $100 gift card and your copy of Sean's book, I Love the World to Know. Um, so happy that you wrote in, and for all of our submissions, we say every month we appreciate you all writing in. We love reading them. And of course, we love to award a winner. And so thank you all. So remember to submit for the remainder of the year and every month to wifey and babymama at gmail.com. Thank you so much for your submissions. All right. Now we're on to our final segment of the night. We do our fictional family, the fictional family we're feeling. So, the fictional family I am feeling tonight is from Shameless. it was a franchise on Showtime, ran many, many years. I think it ended, I can't remember when. Um, but the Gallagher family is the family name. In this particular episode, the oldest sister, Fiona, is in court trying to get custody of her siblings because their father, who if those of you who've watched the franchise know his name's Frank Gallagher. He's a drunk. He's an alcoholic, and nothing comes before his bottle. And so Fiona's in court telling the judge why she should have custody and raise her siblings, her two brothers. Um, so she talks about she's telling the judge how they were living in a car at one time because of her father. They were living in a car, and the father's driving around, and he puts them out on a curb, and he says, "I'll be back." Well, he doesn't come back. And meanwhile, her little brother Ian has a fever, a very, very high fever. So she figures out how to get him to an emergency room, and she gets him help, and he's okay, but they're saying his temperature was 104, and if it had been a couple of more hours, who knows what would have happened. So she saves him, and then she eventually finds her father, and then instead of her father saying, "Oh, are you guys okay, how's my son?" Because I think the son was under the age of 10, maybe 6 or 7 years old. No, he asked his daughter Fiona, "How much money you got?"
Oh,
He Yeah, of course he needs a drink. He don't care about his children. And so she says to the judge, you know, she didn't have her mother. Her mother's bipolar and locked up somewhere or whatever, and the father's an alcoholic. She says, "I just want what's best for my siblings." She says, "I've done everything to raise them. And I forgot to, when I set up the scene, she's young herself. She can't be more than a teenager herself." And she says, "I just want what's best for them. And I've done all I could to help them." And she says, "I'm not asking for your pity or any of that. I just want to be able to give these kids the life that they deserve. And they deserve better than what they've been given." For her little young mind to understand that and also, plead to the judge, that's great. And her father, who's sitting right there, the judge turns to him and says, "So, you're willing to give up, all your parental rights and, give it to your daughter?" And the father says, "Oh, so I won't be responsible. I won't be held accountable. It'd be off me pretty much." And the judge says, "Yes." And the father's like, "Okay, cool." And so
wow.
he walked away from his kids. So when you look at how some people are raised, and when we do ask the question, "Oh, who raised you?" Sometimes their background is going to tell a lot. And then in other instances, like we spoke on tonight, they could have had the perfect upbringing, and you just never know. So asking who raised you and or how you were raised, I hope we can try to understand a little bit about the folks that we know weren't raised the way we were, or may have had a tougher time or a tougher upbringing, and be a little bit more understanding instead of like a lot of us can, judge a little bit and say,
Condescending.
"Oh, yep, exactly,
Hmm.
exactly." So that
Well,
is the
great
fictional family
fictional
I'm feeling.
family. Great fictional family, girlfriend. And I can totally relate. In my book, I tell you, I pretty much raised all of my
Mhm.
siblings. So I get it, but
Yeah, yeah,
all of us didn't turn out right. Some of us didn't turn out perfect. All of us didn't turn out bad. It's just a matter of
right,
choices. So who raised
exactly.
you is not always the problem.
Right.
you
Not
know?
always the problem. Yeah.
Well, that was a great fictional family, girl. And Amber,
Thank
thank you for
you.
joining us. This is a
Yes,
great show,
thank
lady.
Oh,
I,
it's
you.
my
I, I had a
pleasure.
good time. Yeah, you're gonna
Yes.
have to come
Yeah.
to you put it out there now, Amber. So we shall
Yeah.
see Amber back in future
Listen,
episodes.
listen, you wrote a book. Trust me, Sean. Let me tell you, I
You
can
got a
write a
couple
book.
in you? You got a couple in you?
Right.
Well,
Oh,
thank you, Amber, for
yes.
having us,
Thank you so
for
It
much.
was
joining
my
us,
Thank
I'm
you
pleasure.
sorry.
for
It's good to
joining
have
us.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shannon, it
And
was
we
nice
can't wait to
meeting
have you.
you.
You too, Amber. We can't wait to have you back. So
Yeah,
we look forward to that next season. All
absolutely.
right.
Next season.
Okay. And thanks everyone for joining us tonight. And until next week,
We love you
we
all.
love you all.
Yes.
Goodbye.